All right, let's see if this is working right now. Let's go ahead and see if it checks out on my end. Should be going live in just a couple seconds. All right, there we go. All right, what is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host. Uh-oh. All right, the mic is on. So, okay, now for real this time. What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. All right, so folks, we have a bit of an interesting stream with you today. I have WxCenterNazario, who is out chasing this thing. How are you doing, sir?
Good, good. We're currently en route to the Fort Myers, Sarasota region of Southwest Florida, about an hour and 10 minutes out, 64 miles away. This is likely where we're going to see most of our isolated severe weather begin to unfold after the 7, 8 p.m. time frame, and especially closer to midnight, moving further inland and further north towards Tampa and St. Petersburg.
This thing, how are you? All right, that's good. And we also have Taylor on the line. Taylor, how are you doing? Okay. Taylor is AFK at the moment. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I'm back. What did you say?
How we're just starting. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
All right, perfect. All right, perfect. Doing, sir. All right, let's go ahead and get started right here. We're going to go ahead and pull up some of the Doppler radar as of right now because we have a very interesting situation that's continuing to develop as time continues to go on. We are looking at a low-pressure system starting to quickly organize and develop in the Gulf of Mexico, expected to bring some future severe thunderstorms and potentially a tornado or two, from what I understand, based off what the SPC is calling for later today. Yeah, we were on Nazario's stream last night kind of talking about this. The main points we were kind of hitting on were, number one, the flooding that's going to be potentially going on with this. Number two, the severe weather in Florida. And number three, the impacts in the Carolinas over here. So this is all stuff that we're continuing to watch at a very close pace. Weather Center Nazario, what's, like, based off of your ground observations, what's the situation going on in Florida?
So we've mainly been seeing a good mixture of showery rain and little pockets of heavier rainfall as these initial bands of the precip swath come through. I can definitely tell you right now, just looking up into the sky, we have some really good low clouds streaming in out of the east and southeast. So we've got a very good low-level component setting up and feeding into our low off the west coast. I'm currently headed south right now, and the winds are coming out of my left, and the clouds are moving left to right, coming out of the east, headed west. And then just above that, we have an even higher level cirrus deck, probably blow off from our system organizing in the Gulf of Mexico. So we already have an indication that our vertical wind shear is established and ready to rock and roll for our event later this evening.
All right. So you heard it right there. We're looking at a good amount of wind shear, as well as all this convection that's firing up both on infrared satellite and on radar. If we go ahead and show you the infrared satellite from the radar right here, we can go ahead and give you that situation right there. We're looking at a lot of cold cloud tops. We're looking at a bunch of reds, a bunch of more brownish colors right there. That's stuff that you don't really want to see if you do not want thunderstorms. This thing is intensifying at a very fast pace. Do we know what the latest minimum central pressure is right now on this thing? Nazario?
Not at the moment, no. I haven't been tracking it. I noticed that some of the models did back off a little bit in terms of how much cyclogenesis we're going to see out of it.
All right.
We're bringing it down to anywhere between 995 and 998 central pressure as it begins to make landfall, somewhere just to the north of the Clearwater area, north of Tampa Bay.
Yep.
That's what we're looking at right now. I know the HRRR is still thinking we could see some very sporty activity with it, and it could still continue to strengthen before we move inland. Of course, our models only initialized so well, and throughout the hurricane season this year, for example, they were pretty consistent in under forecasting the phenomena that we encountered for the most part. So there's always going to be that standard deviation you have to take into effect.
Oh yeah,
so we're just going to have to continue to monitor that. But as of right now, we're still looking at a sub-1,000 millibar system projected to move across the Florida Peninsula.
All right. Okay. All right. So, all right, that's good. Is there any reports of flooding yet in Florida yet? I know there's some rainfall, pretty much from Orlando to Gainesville, and one band, and another one impacting the Palm Beach areas around Palm Beach County.
No substantial flooding just yet. Everywhere I've been driving so far, where we've seen some of our heavier rainfall occurring, there's been some collecting on the roadways. Nothing significant. I have had to bob and weave every now and again because of the water collecting in the lower lying areas, but nothing substantial yet. We'll have a better feel for that once we get out to the coast. We'll see how much the tide is going to affect the potential storm surge and the wave heights we get off of this thing. I'll be able to give you a much accurate picture, or much more accurate picture, once we actually approach our first target area, Fort Myers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second, real quickly. Let me do something real quickly. All right. We got someone who wants to join. Real quickly. I'm just messaging them right now. All right, so looks like we might be having a couple more people joining the stream in just a second. Yeah, hopefully they get on, and hopefully get on so we can get some more analysis in this. All right, all right, okay. Join the. All right, let's. All right. Oh. Yeah, all right. Taylor, so we were kind of talking about this last night, but in your opinion, what is the biggest threat that we're looking at in the next 48 hours as this thing intensifies and starts bringing in more impacts to Florida, especially the Carolinas?
Definitely the coastal flooding and the flash flooding. But honestly, definitely the coastal flooding.
All right. Looks like we got someone else in. Matt, Ethan, can you hear us?
Yo.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. If their audio quality is a bit low, I do apologize for that. They're calling in they're calling in on their way back home. So yeah, what do you guys want to? All right. So what you guys want to come on here? What do you guys want to bring to the table?
I just wanted to see what's popping, because it's kind of boring driving all the way from Indiana to Maryland right now.
Yeah, we're covering this. They're covering this nor'easter. Not nor'easter yet, but this low pressure system that's bringing impacts to Florida and the Carolinas. We were kind of talking about that last night on WxCenterNazario's stream. Also, forgot to where are my manners? WxCenterNazario want to introduce you to Ethan WX and Matt. So there are a couple of friends that I've met in real life. So hey, there's that as well. It's a small world here. All right. Yeah. So in the meantime, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm not. Okay. Yeah. Ethan, Matt. Have you guys been paying attention to this system, or are you guys just focused on what's going on with what you're up to?
I was looking at it earlier before we left. Where we live, we're supposed to get about 2 to 3 inches of rain.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. When is this supposed to get up to Maryland? And is it supposed to be in the next 2 to 3 days? Tomorrow.
Start tomorrow afternoon, and the heaviest of it will be like around midnight.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, my concern for Maryland, since you brought that up, is potentially the Eastern Shore, where they're pretty prone to flooding. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I've been looking at the NAM. It was showing 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts around Ocean City, the coastal areas.
Jeez.
And if that wind is slightly on shore, that can be storm surge flooding, lots of beach erosion, and those winds are strong enough to bring down trees and power lines too. So
yeah,
it could be a pretty interesting event over there.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Good at all.
Where we live, we're just going to get like 40 mile per hour winds and a lot of rain.
Yeah. Well, down in Florida, they're looking at. Go ahead.
Impact.
Yeah. Well, down. Sorry.
Areas get serious impacts from North Carolina all the way through New England.
Okay. Uh-oh, something's... Okay, something... All right. In the meantime, all right. In the meantime, in Florida, we're looking at some potential severe weather that's going to be heading down there later today. We have a bit of a tornado risk and wind risk, mainly according to the Storm Prediction Center. We can go ahead and pull that up for you guys right here. Here's the day one outlook. It looks like they extended it all the way to Jacksonville now. So almost all the Florida panhandle, not panhandle, but Florida Peninsula, Nazario is now under a slight risk. And they initiated this just an hour and a half ago. So, yeah, we have a slight risk, 5% tornado risk, 15 wind, no hail risk. That's to be expected right there. 20Z update. The previous outlook remains on track and no changes have been made to severe probabilities across Florida and far southeast Georgia. Overall, the severe risk will remain conditional through the period given limited thermodynamic environment hindered by weak diurnal heating and poor low-level lapse rates. However, given increasing vertical shear, particularly in the low levels later this evening and overnight, some of the risk for locally strong and damaging gusts and a tornado or two remains possible. So I just wanted to put that out there. And yeah, Nazario, what's your reaction to hearing what I just broadcasted to you?
Makes a lot of sense. I definitely don't think we're going to have a very liable hail threat with this situation. We don't have the wet bulb temps for it, nor do we have the vigorous cape to sustain the buoyancy of individualized cells to produce hail. The temperature profile of the atmosphere is going to be evolving on a constant status because of the fact that we have some baroclinicity forming within the center of this vortex as it picks up jet support from the polar front off the Gulf Coast. That dry slot is what's really going to help to intensify the possible tornado threat through Fort Myers, through the Tampa-St. Pete area, as well as a little bit of East Coast enhancement near the Gulf Stream with the onshore flow that I can already see taking place. A lot of this is going to happen closer to the midnight hour. So as we begin this storm chase here in my neck of the woods, it's probably going to be a long night. We're definitely going to be in for quite a bit of driving. We're going to be following these storms every step of the way, but I definitely think that the tornado threat is very conditional for us, especially since we will be possibly chasing them in the dark. Right now, we're projected to hopefully at least capture a funnel cloud or two, at the very minimum a water spout off the west coast of Florida. That's what we're looking at as of right now after glancing at some of our more recent model data. EHIs and lifted index was very favorable for it. Cape was modest because of all this cloud cover. We're really not seeing a whole lot of surface heating. The mixed layer is wrapped up well on the southern periphery of the storm. So I think once we get a little bit of that mid-level, upper-level dry air entrainment up close line to the coast, and that frontal axis can begin to show itself, or our main convective band, that's when we'll most likely see some more of the hellacious wind activity, thunderstorm activity, and rotation within these cells begin to unfold.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the Cape right now from the HER, and the Cape is mainly like the worst of it. Well, not the worst of it in our sense, but the best Cape is pretty much isolated to the western coast of Florida right now, pretty much from Sarasota all the way down to Monroe County. So that's something I'm paying attention. We're looking at Cape values really not exceeding much greater than 1,200 joules per kilogram. Although we are seeing around 1,400 in Monroe County, southern Miami-Dade. So yeah, the Cape's definitely not there, but the shear definitely appears to be there, at least as of right now. So we'll have to pay attention to that as time continues to go on. If we go ahead and pull up the wrap, where are you going to be chasing at, and what time do you think we're going to see the best activity?
So we're headed towards Fort Myers currently. I had progged a couple of possible rotating cells closer to the Naples area. But I think we're going to hunker down at Fort Myers at least for the next few hours until after sunset, then really watch the satellite and radar closely and determine whether or not we'll be retreating further inland to chase some of the bands as they wrap around the storm, or propagate a little bit further to the north and try to come up towards Hillsborough County, the Hillsborough Bay, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area, and try to get an idea and take some observations of what the wind flow, the storm surge, the wave heights are acting as we get closer to 10 to 12 midnight.
All right. Okay, thank you. So I'm just, I'm asking this because I'm going to be plucking a sounding around that particular time.
Chat, that way we can hear you better and I can join in.
What's going on? What's going on, Ethan?
Add me to the group chat
Yeah, yeah, just focus. Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. All right. I just got you in, but
Give me a brief
have
moment.
Matt answer that for you.
I'm going to step out of the Discord chat real quick. Got to make another phone call real
That's
brief.
fine.
I'll
Go
be
right ahead.
back.
Let's go right ahead. All right. So, okay, we're taking care of that. Nazario's out for just a second. Ethan, Matt. What are you guys thinking of all this? Given all the information you're given, we're mainly focusing on Florida, but still.
I was AFK
Yeah,
throughout that entire conversation.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. We got much to cover for this. So, yeah. All right. So,
Why I can't hear it.
all right. Ethan, Matt, Taylor. What do you guys think of all that you're hearing? What we were talking about previously was basically Nazario's on his way to Fort Myers to chase this thing. The worst of it's not coming till probably around midnight or so, from what I understand. And I'm kind of trying to get all the information I can so I can get a sounding out of this, so I can, get just find some information, get the information, see what the worst case scenario is. Now now we're at Lee County. I'm gonna pluck a sounding from the rat model just to kind of see what the hodograph and what the SQT profile looks like, if it'll actually load on the thing. So we'll have to pay attention to that. All right, so here's what we have. Okay, so looking at the profile that we're looking at the SQT and the Cape profile we're looking at right now. Cape is, by the time I'm sampling this is about 3 a.m. in Eastern time. Cape's around 350. The shear is what's mainly going to be driving this, from what I'm looking at. The shear at 1 kilometer is 33 knots. The shear at 6 is about 34. So we're seeing a rather consistent situation where we're looking at shear all the way down to the lower levels. So if any rotation or tornado activity does happen, all I'm gonna say is that it's mainly gonna be the shear that's gonna be carrying it. So yeah, thoughts from any of you guys? Hello? Yeah. What's your guys' thoughts of what I just said?
I'd say,
Okay. All right, we're experiencing some technical difficulties over here, I think. But yeah, SRH values with this was about 174 at one surface to 1 kilometer, which that's actually pretty good for a potential tornado development right there. It's
we had any tornado warnings yet?
I'm sorry.
Have there been any tornado warnings yet?
No, there haven't. In fact, there hasn't really been that much going on. It's not, the worst of it's not supposed to start until about in the overnight hours, but it's starting to get interesting in Florida. So no, I'm not sure when they're going to issue it, or if they're going to issue a tornado watch or not. My best guess is they might issue a severe thunderstorm watch at some point, based off what we're seeing. The shear's there, the Cape is there, the wind speeds are there. We'll just have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, where do you think the biggest threat is going to be, like in Florida?
Honestly, the biggest situation I'm looking at right now, the biggest tornado threat, it's going to be incremental. The biggest tornado threat, at least from what Nazario is kind of been talking about, is probably going to be on the west coast of Florida.
Like Tampa, Fort Myers,
pretty much from Sarasota to Monroe County.
All right.
And the biggest, I'd say, surge risk would probably be it would be north of Tampa, but Tampa's still going to get some surge, at least in Florida. And the Carolinas, the biggest threat for surge is going to be pretty much from Charleston all the way to Wilmington. As I was talking last night with Connor, Blue, Nazario, those guys. So that's the biggest situation. Yeah. So that's what we have going on right there. The Cape really does start to increase substantially by the morning hours, by 7 in the morning in Florida. If we go ahead and pull a sounding, I want to take a look at that and see what those shear values are, so that way I can get a better grasp of what we're looking at and get a better understanding of what kind of the main threat will turn into. Yeah, and based off what I'm looking at, yeah, the shear is going to be dropping off considerably by the time that higher Cape comes in. So I'm not overly concerned about the Cape. I am more or less concerned about the wind shear going into tonight. So we'll have to pay attention to it as time continues to go on. So yeah, for those of you tuning in, if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. We'll take any questions, and we'll do our best to answer them as best as we can. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kind of get a look at what we're looking at least for now. Right now, if we go ahead and I want to go ahead and pull up some velocity the velocity on the radar right now to get kind of a closer look at what we're looking at. This is from the Tampa radar going around. So based off what we're looking at wind gusts based off the Tampa radar. They're not that bad. They're pretty impressive. We're looking at around St. Petersburg about 30 miles an hour, but that's a bit elevated from where this thing is based at. So in southwestern Hillsborough County. So there's that where we're looking at in Tampa. There's not really much that we can show because there's a bit of interference over there, but areas around Sarasota, we're definitely looking. Definitely looking at velocities. Definitely looking at velocities. I'd say about 15 miles per hour. If we go further down to Cape Coral, we're looking at around about 40 miles per hour. But this is most likely elevated due to the proximity to proximity to basically the Tampa radar, and because it's kind of in a spot where it's a bit uncertain. I'd have to say those winds are probably like 25 going down, but those winds are expected to increase as we continue to go into the night and into the afternoon. For those of you who are tuning in from Florida, if we go ahead and show you the infrared satellite imagery, we're not even close to done. In fact, this is just starting. The main bulky part of it is still in the still in the east central Gulf of Mexico, approaching Florida, and that's where the center of circulation is right now. So we'll have to pay attention to it. Yeah, can you look at the east coastal waves? Trying to get a pump tomorrow. We'll take a look at those for you. Yeah, mainly the winds. Yeah, mainly the waves. We've been kind of paying attention to. We were actually talking to Nazario about it last night. Yeah, it's about last night. We were looking at waves off the coast, about going up to potentially 30 feet, but the surge isn't going to be that much for the east coast of Florida, from what I'm looking at. Maybe like 1 to 2 feet or so. But that's what I'm looking at right now. Hopefully, when Nazario comes back in, we'll get some more information on that. But what I do know is the NWS is taking this very seriously, obviously, right here, especially for parts of the Carolinas where some potential flooding through storm surge is a bit more of a threat than it is in the east coast of Florida. If we go ahead and go to the east coast of Florida, what we have right now, we do have some coastal flood advisories in effect for the Jacksonville area. Coastal flood advisories. These are for minor coastal flooding. We're looking at large breaking waves of 6 to 10 feet. Right there. Of course, we have dangerous rip currents. So even with all the winds that are not going on, I would recommend not swimming, obviously. So, yeah. Any more questions, guys? If not, Ethan, what do you think? Ethan, what are you? You've been looking at this a little bit. What's your take on this?
I mean, my take is that, up and down the East Coast, you got to be prepared for it.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's going to be one of the strongest coastal storms, some places have seen in quite a few years, especially North Carolina, maybe even parts of New England, too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Matt, I know you're there. Any thoughts from you?
Just sort of similar to what Ethan said. Just, it'll wait. you have to prepare all around because with the winds, the potential for some storm surge. So along the coast, it's definitely a threat from the whole way down by Florida to the whole way up to New England. So
What's up, Taylor?
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off. But I heard that like there was a meteorologist and he said that like it could break records in terms of pressure. He said that the lowest pressure ever recorded at landfall in Florida was 990 millibars, and so maybe the storm could be lower than that
Oh, wow.
when it makes landfall.
Jeez. That's
Yeah. So
yeah. Do we know what the minimum central pressure is right now on this system?
that's what I was going to ask you because I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm not sure how to figure. I'm not sure where to find that.
Maybe tropical tidbits, maybe.
Yeah, I mean tropical
Oh,
tidbits. I mean,
like CO2 or maybe the NOAA site.
Yeah. I'll have to look at that. See how that whole thing goes.
Right, to try to find buoy data because the storm is offshore still.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to look. Yeah, for sure. I'll take a look at that. Okay. Yeah.
I can share the tweet.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. All right, we're going to look at this. Oceans and coasts. Yeah, I'm just trying to find some information for you guys on what the minimum central pressure is, because that's going to be telling on how much what the situation. Okay, Nazario is back. So what's the latest you got for us?
All right, so definitely a dynamic situation. I'm already going to relocate. Believe it or not, there's already a rotating cell that's about maybe 20, 30 miles northeast of Punta Gorda, Florida. I'm going to relocate, and instead of charging down directly into Fort Myers, I'm actually going to head towards Venice Beach, Florida, looking at our latest 19 and 20 Zulu HRRR and FV3 model at 18Z. Looks like most of our EHI and helicity is going to be associated with the storms barreling through Venice, just a little further to the north towards Sarasota. And then, believe it or not, our interior Florida tornado threat is going up. The HRRR is making some adjustments with the center of circulation. Looks like it's going to cross somewhere to the north of Tampa Bay and continue to propagate at an east-northeast fashion. And we're really going to see overnight, early morning tornado chances really start to go up, believe it or not, for Polk, Osceola County, Orange County, Greater Orlando metro area, just based off of the current data I'm looking at. And I'm right on the heels of this weekly rotating thunderstorm. I can see the black clouds down out in front of me. Winds are definitely picking up. We're probably at about sustained 30, 35 miles an hour out of the southeast. Yeah, so we're already in a volatile situation. It's 4:45 in the afternoon. I think within the next 2 to 3 hours, we're going to start to see convection off the coast really amp up, and that's going to be very telling of where it is we want to posture ourselves along the coast. But I'm about 40, 45 minutes away from where I'm going to be setting myself up, at least for the next 2 to 3 hours, we'll say.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, quick question from Isaac Logan: could inland Florida, specifically northern Orlando metro area, see tornadoes later tonight?
Based off of what I'm seeing right now, absolutely. I wouldn't say that there's going to be a high risk, but they're definitely much greater now than they were previously, just based on where we're anticipating this low center to track.
All right.
The models are doing a very good job of showing us where that mixed layer cape is along its southern periphery. Low-level jet beginning to establish itself right around where the triple point or where the center of circulation is likely to be. And if you pull up the HRRR, if you could, Pat, on the stream, you'll be able to see it. There's a clear corridor of supercell, EHI. Wow, winds are really.
What do you want me to pull up?
I
would say go ahead, pull up HRRR simulated reflectivity as well as the SIG torn parameters from the HRRR, the 20Z model.
All right, I got it. Okay, I have the 18Z. Let's pull up the 20Z real quickly. Yeah, I can definitely see some of those cells starting to fire up. Let's look at the SIG tor parameter. Okay, that's interesting. The SIG tor parameter is not particularly that big. Supercell composite is a bit interesting. But yeah, I can definitely see those cells that you were talking about on the simulated reflectivity for sure. Yeah,
Go
before.
ahead and fast forward to between the 6 and 12 Zulu time frame, and you'll see where that center is expected to track.
Yep.
Nothing extremely favorable, but we're seeing a clustering of where our parameters for supercell activity start to come together, kind of almost riding I-4 eastward towards the Central Florida area and just further to the north of that.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, Taylor, you had a question. What's up?
So where would you say like the highest likelihood of tornadoes is in Florida?
Based off of what I'm seeing right now, and it is actually getting progressively darker. I wish you guys could see me on camera right now. It is getting darker as we speak. Winds are definitely picking up all of a sudden. We're definitely getting close to the shoreline, and we're losing that frictional influence, I guess, from the landmass because things are taking a turn pretty quickly. I would definitely think anywhere from Sarasota, Venice Beach, entering Charlotte County right now, passing the Charlotte County line as we speak. Conditions are going downhill. And I would definitely say from Charlotte County all the way up towards Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater is where going to be our greatest nocturnal waterspout, and maybe transitional tornado threat is likely. And we're really going to need to watch closely and extrapolate that low center out because that's going to be very telling of where that enhanced risk continues to transition across the state. Because HRRR is definitely adjusting on the fly very quickly in comparison to what I saw earlier this morning before the chase. When I started the chase, looked like the possibilities were going to be about marginal for Southwest Florida. And now they're starting to really cluster up between where I am currently and further to the north around Tampa, St. Petersburg.
All right, you said you're chasing a cell that's north of Punta Gorda, right?
Yes, if you turn on your
I got
velocity,
it. I have the radar.
The lowest place.
Yep.
There's a very weak rotational cell that just transitioned through the pattern. Nothing crazy, but it's definitely moving to the northwest.
Yeah.
Kind of headed down towards the Tampa Bay area. It's very small, very compact, but it goes to show we already have some rotating cells in the pattern right now. And yeah, I'm about to hit some very heavy rain here. Don't be surprised if I cut out of the call. I'm probably going to start losing signal.
That's
here in a
fine.
little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Just make sure you drive safe and get through this safely. Yeah. Okay. So Taylor, do you have anything else for us?
No, not really.
Okay. Oh, you sent us the tweet. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up real quickly for our audience. Yeah, along the coast from Wilmington, North Carolina to Florida, as well as Florida, most areas have never seen a pressure on land in December below 990 millibars, and some never below 995. This storm will likely set numerous pressure records for the month in the region. So this was from Craig. This is from Craig Cece. Nazario, what do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that? I just read the tweet out.
I do agree. I can't really comment too heavily on the statistical records or average for December storms, especially up the East Coast.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is going to be a very aggressive system that we need to watch. And we might even see a greater tornado severe weather threat for parts of South Carolina, the eastern half of North Carolina, spanning into Virginia, if we do see it establish itself and really develop a solid warm conveyor off the western Atlantic, feeding off the Gulf Stream and really to help intensify our surface-based buoyancy. Unlike what we're seeing here, we'll probably have more of an absolutely unstable environment of the mid-Atlantic coast, depending on how strong it gets. Whereas right now, we're definitely in a more conditional environment here in Florida because of all this increased cloud cover, and we're in the preliminary stages of the actual development.
Wait, so you're saying an absolutely unstable area in the mid-Atlantic?
Yes, more than likely, at least based off of what I've been able to glance at. Definitely seems like the eastern tip of South Carolina, eastern half of North Carolina, closer to the Cape Hatteras area, and then parts of southeastern Virginia could be under the threat for even more organized severe weather potential. And I know SPC, last time I glanced at it this morning, has them already highlighted for, I believe, a level 2 risk as well, very similar to what we see here in Florida right now.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up. Ethan, Matt, you're hearing this right now. You guys are heading back to Maryland. This is going to be interesting. Unstable lapse rates, guys.
If the storm shifts far enough west, I could see that also extending maybe towards the Delmarva Peninsula.
Yeah, that's not going to be good at all for the Eastern Shore or the area or Chesapeake Bay for that matter.
Yeah, but I definitely agree. Eastern North Carolina, watch out because that's going to be a very unstable environment there. and you're going to have severe storms possibly rotating, moving onshore with a tornadic threat.
Yeah.
On top of the damaging winds, the flash flooding, and this maybe some storm surge as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ethan, Matt, you guys know the Maryland. You guys know the Chesapeake Bay more than any of us here do. Let's say this whole scenario plays out. What do you think is going to happen as a result of the? What do you think is going to happen when it comes to flooding, severe weather, all that stuff? And this is to both of you.
I'm thinking places around the Chesapeake Bay and West aren't going to see anything very exciting. Just lots of rain and maybe some wind gusts like 40 miles per hour.
Okay.
It's going to be east of there. The Delmarva Peninsula is the big question for us, because if the storm shifts further west, then that also adds severe weather threat to that area that Nazario was talking about for South Carolina, North Carolina, Southeast Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt, you're closer to the Chesapeake Bay than Ethan is. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I feel like by me, it'll probably just be, some heavy rain at times, but nothing too substantial in terms of wind.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not something too bad around, other by the DC area, but then once you get further, maybe along the Chesapeake Bay and further east, that's when there could be more flooding, higher wind gusts and whatnot. So that's the areas of concern, really, around that area. So.
Yeah.
I'd like to highlight the areas of basically Salisbury, Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland, Lilly's, Delaware, basically anywhere along that stretch of coast. Just be prepared for a severe weather risk to be present tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fun time for really anyone in the next 48 hours that's on the East Coast, from the Delmarva Peninsula to Florida, which is getting hit right now. Nazario, what's the intercept looking like right now? How's the cell looking like? I'm looking at it on radar, and it's a little difficult to gauge.
Yeah, it's very tiny, very small vortices I'm seeing in the 0.5 degree base velocity. Something I picked up on during a quick glance. Conditions are slowly trying to improve. Winds are still pretty intense right now. I want to say gusting anywhere between low end to mid-grade tropical depression strength. Nothing too extravagant right now. We're still not really right up against the coastline. When we get there, I'll be able to posture up, set up shop, and I'll be able to give a little bit more of an accurate assessment. It's currently 39 minutes away from Venice Beach, Florida. Find someone comfortable to kind of posture there, and then determine whether or not I need to move a little bit further to the north, closer to Sarasota. That'll remain to be seen. But it's definitely getting darker. It's definitely getting darker, and it's only 4:54, so we shouldn't be losing the sun just yet.
Yeah. Okay, Taylor, do you have something for us?
I just got back. Well, what? Can you repeat what you said?
We're talking about the cell that's north of Punta Gorda. We're talking about potentially some big impacts in the Mid-Atlantic around Virginia, and potentially the Delmarva Peninsula, and we're talking about further impacts in the Chesapeake Bay as well.
Okay. Well, I don't know about Maryland or Virginia really.
Yeah,
but
that's more Ethan and Matt's style right there.
Yeah, the Chesapeake Bay, they may see some storm surge.
I would also like to mention that places further north, like Long Island, Rhode Island, those areas along the New England coast, you're going to be right in the warm sector of this storm system with direct onshore flow. So those areas, I think, could see some serious storm surge impacts and maybe even some severe weather as the storm moves north.
Yeah. All right, let me go ahead and... Yeah, Long Island and Rhode Island, they're not very high.
And maybe like parts of Massachusetts and Connecticut as well.
Yeah, they're not very highly elevated in a lot of these areas, so that's definitely a bit of a concern going into the next few days. So that's what we have going on as more of a long-term threat, but in the short term, we're looking at conditions continuing to get worse down in Florida, particularly on the West Coast, where we're starting to see some rotation on a couple of cells, and we have a very thick band of rain, pretty much going from Gainesville all the way to Titusville. So it's pretty interesting, and it looks like the bulk of it is just north of Seminole County. So yeah, if you're tuning in from really anywhere from Orlando to Gainesville. Continue to keep a very close eye on this thing. But the main stuff we're paying attention to right now, which is the more tornadic threat as we go into the overnight and the evening hours, is mainly in western Florida. So Nazario, we were kind of talking about this earlier. About the potential tornado threat. Is this going to be more of a West Florida threat or Florida Peninsula threat? Just for people who are tuning in.
Florida Peninsula, I would definitely think. We're not looking at anything very markedly enhanced. It's not going to be a scattered tornado risk. It's going to be more isolated to funnel clouds and the occasional rope-like tornado, a very brief spin-up,
right?
Especially the closer you are to the south and southeast quadrant of the low center of circulation. We're going to see a lot of the onshore flow coming in out of the south and southeast, definitely intensifying over the Gulf Stream, and we're going to see a lot of our good surface-based buoyancy go up once it encounters the Gulf Stream waters, and that's exactly why our warm conveyor is going to intensify as it continues to transition over the peninsula and then up towards the remainder of the southeast into the mid-Atlantic region.
All right.
But I would definitely think southwest and west Florida is going to have the greatest potential of seeing a waterspout possibly transition to a tornado, and then we'll need to watch very closely as to whether or not we see any organized cells propagate through interior parts and eastern parts of Florida.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, while I have you, I've been taking a look at the radar. This cell that you're chasing is starting to continue to strengthen. We're looking at DBZ values cracking 50 now. Yeah, for Florida,
yeah,
that's
definitely getting dark here.
Yeah, we're looking at DBZ values cracking 50 now. We were around 43 last scan, so yeah, it's definitely starting to ramp up a bit.
Yeah, I'm passing over a water source right now, and there's lots of white caps, very choppy seas next to me, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's... Oof. Yeah. We'll have to again see how this whole thing plays out, but I'm keeping an eye on the radar for you. We're keeping an eye on the velocity for you as well. The velocity, though, I can't really make out too much because it's at an angle away from... It's too much at an angle away from the Tampa radar. So, yeah, it's a little bit hard to make out, at least from my computer right now. I mean,
no worries.
Yeah, the worst part about this, too, is that the Tampa radar is the best radar I can use to kind of put two and two together, because all the other radars are too far away. So, yeah, we have that.
I agree.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So, Nazario, what else are you kind of taking a look at right now that probably our viewers who are across the Florida Peninsula should be paying attention to in the next few hours?
Right now, my biggest recommendation is going to be just keep a cellular device close to you to where you can kind of monitor the radar for your local area.
Okay.
I'm actually looking at it right now, and I know I don't recommend doing this. I'm currently doing 70 on Interstate 75. Do not look down at your mobile device while you're driving like I am. But
focus on driving. Focus on driving.
I'm focused, but I'm also trying to keep my situational awareness about me. And one disturbing factor I'm starting to notice looking at our lowest level elevation slice of base reflectivity is we have opposing flows. If you look at some of our embedded convective activity that's propagating away from Lake Okeechobee, you can see that it's actually going against some of the onshore flow from southwest Florida. And I think that's going to help to kind of localize, enhance a little bit of updraft rotation that we might see out of anything that does try to solidify itself into an actual thunderstorm cell, as opposed to just the stratiform rain that we're seeing across much of the state. So we'll have to keep a close eye on hour by hour, minute by minute, exactly what unfolds and what kind of interacts with each other as we move along.
Yeah, all right. Taylor, you wanted to say something. What's up?
Okay, so basically, keep your emergency alerts on your devices on if you live in Florida. Don't turn those off. If you have a weather radio, I'd highly recommend turning it on. Make sure your ringtone is raised way up, so in case you get a tornado warning, you can safely wake up and then go to your shelter.
All right, that's all right. That should be textbook for pretty much everyone who not only lives in Florida but lives on the East Coast for the next few days, because looks like a pretty nasty system going to be moving through. So yeah, we'll have to see how this whole thing plays out for sure. But yeah, in the meantime, if we go ahead and show you the infrared right now, it's already still seeing more and more signs of intensification and consolidation based off the satellite radar from courtesy of the College of DuPage. So definitely something to continue to monitor as those winds continue to increase, as that rainfall continues to increase, and as this thing starts to slowly make its way towards the Florida Peninsula, make landfall, and then bring impacts to much of the East Coast, particularly around the Carolinas, where I am particularly concerned about, because as of right now, and I don't know if they're going to get extended further to the north or not, but they are under coastal flood warnings right now. And those coastal flood warnings, particularly around Wilmington, are calling for around 1 to 2 feet of inundation above ground level in expected low-lying areas. What was that? Oh yeah, okay, never mind. There are some. They did get some. Hey, Ethan, Matt. Just to let you guys know, we do have some warnings going up right now for this system right now. We have coastal flood advisories. We have Matt, this is for you. We have a flood watch in effect for your area.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But anyway,
You
yeah.
know, Washington County's included in that?
No, it's not Hagerstown. It's the area around DC.
All right, is Frederick County in it?
No, Frederick's not in it, but I think the one next to it. I'm not sure where Westminster is.
That's Carroll County.
Yeah, Carroll County's in it. Yeah. But interestingly enough, Garrett County's in a winter storm watch.
Yeah, they are going to get on the backside of the system. The Appalachian areas are going to get some pretty good snowfall.
Yeah, for sure. So that's definitely something to pay attention to.
Some of the Oaks areas have some snowfall, some places like snow too.
Yeah, it looks like 6 to 12 inches for the area in Garrett County, as well as parts of West Virginia as well. But anyway, that's kind of besides the point. Pretty much, this is also interesting. Pretty much everywhere from how far north in Maine is it? Yeah, pretty much everywhere from Bangor, Maine, all the way down to past the Outer Banks, through the Carolinas to Georgetown, South Carolina, is under a flood watch or flood warning, and then it continues all the way down to Florida from Georgia. So this is definitely interesting and something to pay attention to as time continues to go on. Let's go ahead and get back to the radar. Ethan, Matt, is there anything you guys want to add on, particularly for those who are tuning in from DC, Virginia, and pretty much areas north of there? Since we were going over these warnings.
One thing I noticed, just looking at some of the models, is that the heaviest rainfall in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, concentrated right around I-95.
All right.
The corridor with all the high populated areas. So
yeah,
so it's something that you're going to want to watch out for: street flooding, maybe some flash flooding, just from the intense rainfall.
Okay. Yeah, Nazario, you looks like you're in. It looks like it's pretty windy or something that's going on. It's coming through the audio. What's going on your end?
Yeah, rain and wind is picking up, more so the rain than the wind. I'm currently, like I said, doing about 70, 75 on I-75, about 30 minutes away, maybe a little bit less than that. I have to check my GPS. I'm 28 minutes away from where I'm expected to set up shop, and then I'll actually be able to get on camera and try to establish myself and give you guys a visual representation of what's actually going on down here.
All right.
Took a brief look at water vapor, and I can definitely see that dry slot working its way in on the south and southwest or southeast quadrant of the low center. You can very easily identify it on water vapor and infrared. Very good convective activity popping off along it. So I do think if we are going to see severe weather, if not tornadoes, water spouts, etc., that's going to be the area to watch closely as it approaches land.
All right. I need to go do something real quickly. So can one of you guys take control of the stream and kind of talk about some stuff while I'm gone? It'll be like a minute.
I'm going to jump off here in a second, too. Let my phone charge a little bit.
That's fine.
Close, and I'll jump back in once I actually
park. Okay, Ethan, Matt, Taylor, one of you want to take over, or what do you guys want to do?
I'll go for now, but
Let's maybe just open it up to questions right now. If
Yeah.
anyone has anything
All right.
specific.
Okay, if you guys have any questions for us, let us know. We'll be back in just a minute, so that way we can get some stuff resituated and continue to bring you this coverage. Thank you.
Chat. Oh yeah. Yeah, like if someone asks a question about how their area is going to be impacted, just respond to it in the message here. Guys. Let's see.
I see someone said, "Hey, look, there's a potential water spout producing thunderstorm near West Palm."
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what someone said in the chat.
Yeah, we can't control the stream, so we're gonna have to wait for Patrick to come back and pull up the radar.
Yeah.
West Palm, but
I mean, I can pull up a radar.
see, where are we? About we're halfway between Cleveland and Toledo.
Okay.
Tell them that if there is any rotation, it's pretty broad because I cannot see it on the radar.
Yeah, I can't look at the radar right now, but Matt, if you see anything, just let everybody know.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really tell, but
I wouldn't say it's anything to worry about, even if there is.
oh yeah, that was a while ago. But there's a statement on it.
Oh, like special weather statement?
I assume so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because some of these storms are definitely producing like 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts and heavy rain, which is really severe limits, but that can still be pretty disruptive if you're trying to drive. It can knock over some objects and false branches.
Someone else said water is over the seawall in
Okay.
Crystal River.
Crystal River, where's that? Is that near Tampa?
Patrick, do you know where Crystal River is?
Crystal River. Yeah, I just got back.
Crystal River.
Yeah, someone said water is over the seawall in Crystal River now.
Okay, I'm taking a look at.
That's not good.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at Crystal River. Is that? I'm not. Hold on, just a second.
I see Crystal River's north of Tampa. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Crystal River is north of the Tampa. Yeah, it's almost at the Big Bend.
Yeah, that was one of the places we talked about during Adalia.
Yeah, that was when Adalia was hitting. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting situation right there. But yeah, Crystal River, that's not good. All right, do we have any questions? Okay. All right, maybe 2 feet. All right. Yeah, there's a potential. All right, so Isaac Logan, apparently, according to Isaac Logan, there is a potential water spout producing Okay, producing thunderstorm near West Palm Beach. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that. I'm not sure that has more to do with. Yeah, there's West Palm Beach. Let me go ahead and use the Miami radar for that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you're pointing at exactly. Exactly. Is that just offshore? Yeah, it's just offshore. It's coming. Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he says the rotation's gone now.
Okay.
He says it was a while ago, but there was a statement on it.
All right, that's fine. Thanks, guys. All right, so for those of you who are tuning in, we are covering this situation down here in Florida, and this is expected to also impact the Carolinas and all the way up the East Coast in the next few days. This is originally initiated as a warm core low pressure system before starting to become cold core as we continue to speak. For those of you who don't know what the hell I just talked about, basically, warm core is what you'd associate with tropical cyclones, and cold core is what you would associate with mid-latitude cyclones. And mid-latitude cyclones are basically what nor'easters, and in this case, this system is. It has a warm front and a cold front. That's basically what defines mid-latitude cyclones. They have fronts, whereas tropical systems do not. Just to give you a bit of just to give you some information on that. So yeah, anything new happened other than that potential thing? Or are we just looking right now? We're waiting for Nazario to get back to us so we can give us a visual on what's going on. But we do know we were watching a cell that was north when we first started covering it, north of Punta Gorda. That's now it's now east of the Meadows in Florida, or east of North Sarasota. So we'll have to pay attention to that as time continues to go on. Satellite imagery continues to come in, and it continues to show signs of further strengthening as we continue to talk about this. And I know I say this like a broken record, but this thing definitely has some. This thing definitely has the potential of becoming quite powerful before it even hits Florida. So, yeah, and as you can hear, Ethan and Matt are kind of driving through. Are you guys driving through the outflow of this, or is this a separate cyclone?
Right now we're in north central Ohio, so we're kind of in between that cold front to the west that's kind of moving through the Chicago area right now.
Yeah, I see it.
And then the north that's approaching from the south.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of
The weather here is pretty calm, but it's in the 50s. It's 52 right now.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not driving through any rain.
Yeah, we're not driving through anything interesting.
Yeah, that's good news for you guys. Unfortunately, it's bad news for a lot of people in Florida because they're being impacted by that. And yeah, right now where I'm at, it's 46 degrees. So yeah, we got hit by the cold front a little while ago. I'm not sure if it was last night or not, but still, yeah, it was pretty interesting for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, we're getting some reports based off of radar scope. Daytona Beach is reporting some street flooding, and vehicles are apparently stranded in north of Daytona Beach. Similar situation near Edgewater.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Really?
according to what I'm seeing based off of the M-pings from radar scope, we are seeing we are seeing apparent street flooding. This is not confirmed. And these were. I'm sorry.
So this is most likely from heavy rainfall, I'd assume. Guess we lost some.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just give me 1 second. But yeah, we are seeing unconfirmed M-pings of some street flooding in north of Daytona Beach and near Edgewater in Florida. Again, this is not confirmed, but it's something to take a look at. All right, Connor just joined into the stream. Connor, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good. What about you?
Doing all right. We're covering this thing that's impacting Florida right now. There's a very thick band of heavy rain approaching Daytona Beach, but we also wanted to bring you in to kind of talk about some of the Carolina impacts, since you can explain it more than I can.
Yeah, I'll see what's going on. I mean, I haven't really been looking at the updates much today. Been a little busy.
That's understandable. I think we all have been.
But from what I've noticed, some of the beaches, they've actually lowered the storm surge,
All right.
which is a good thing because I think the push is coming a little after high tide, which is a little better.
Yeah, that's good.
It's showing 1 to 2 feet for me now instead of 2 to 3.
Yeah, we were covering that earlier. But yeah, it's still looking like you're going to get hit by at least some heavy rain from this.
Heavy rain and wind. It's still showing 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts for me. So
Yeah.
and a lot of rain. It's showing it's actually upped my rainfall total now.
Wait, which model are we talking about?
Let me see here. Let me go on windy real quick. Rain accumulation. According to the ECM, or no, okay, let me see. According to the GFS has me getting 6 inches of rain.
Wow. As of which model? The 12Z or 18Z?
That was the 12Z. I'll check out the 18Z too, but the 12Z ECM had me getting 3. So I don't know how much that's updated, but it seems like 3 to 5.
Yeah, the 18Z GFS has you getting around like 3 to according to what I'm seeing, total precip accumulation. Yeah, that's a good 1 to 3 inches according to what I'm seeing. Unless I'm missing something. I want to take a look at the NAM real quickly. Oh, yeah. The NAM, Connor, is bringing you close to 7.
7 inches of rain?
Yeah. In Wilmington.
Wow.
Now, this is unconfirmed.
I'm closer to Southport, so it looks like I'm closer to 4.
Yeah.
But still a lot of rain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the NAM for you. To be honest, yeah. Yeah.
I was going to make a mention about the NAM. Let me see if I can find the updated wind gusts here, because it was really concerning according to the NAM for the Outer Banks. Really, really concerning winds.
Yeah, for sure.
As of the 12Z though, it had 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts through the entire Outer Banks.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. And you know the app Surfline?
Yeah.
That's like the one with like all, the waves and tells you what the wind speed is, like what they're forecasting. I don't know what model Surfline uses. Let me look it up here. Surfline weather model. I think they probably use the GFS, I'd assume. Oh, they use their own model. Interesting.
Okay, I'm going to check.
It says for my local beach tomorrow, it says at peak, sustained winds of 27 knots and gusts to 50 knots.
Yeah, that's crazy right there. 27 knots is 31 miles per hour if you do the conversion correctly. And Ethan and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong with this, but you said 50 knots, correct?
Yes.
That's about 57.5 miles an hour. Estimate round that up to 58. That sounds pretty good. That's severe limits right there. 50 knots.
Yeah. It gets worse though in Ocracoke Island. That's like on part of the Outer Banks, right?
I'm sorry?
I know what that's actually.
It says tomorrow in Ocracoke Island, 46 knot sustained winds at 9 p.m.
Wow.
46 knot sustained.
That's what it's saying.
Sustained?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't surprise me though with the onshore flow, and the Outer Banks are so susceptible, and that's when the storms are really going to be bombing out. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's mid-range tropical storm force winds right there.
And the gust, 66 knots.
That's hurricane force.
It's really just this is going to be, and the thing is too, I heard, according to the SPC, the tornado threat is a little bit lower for the Carolinas, but they said there should be a very strong, thin convective band that comes in with a lot of wind for the coast. That's at least what I heard.
Wow. Definitely something to pay attention to for sure. All right, we got a quick question for here. What are the impacts for the northwestern Bahamas, specifically Nassau, and what are the winds expected? Can anyone pull up the potential impacts for the Bahamas?
Let me see. I'm looking at windy, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I'll just use the European since that's the most recent on here.
Yeah.
So Nassau, they said.
Yeah, Nassau in the Bahamas.
Looks like the peak wind gusts are about midnight. I don't know if they're an hour ahead of us or whatnot, but right around midnight Eastern time.
I think Bahamas is Atlantic Standard Time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's showing 45 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts tonight in Nassau.
All right.
And then rain, looks like the rain doesn't, like, you could get some storms tonight. Oh yeah, actually Nassau, looks like the worst of the rain for you guys is tomorrow. So there'll be a lot of storm activity tomorrow morning. And even tomorrow morning it's going to be gusting to 50. So honestly, the winds will be pretty strong from about now probably all the way through tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. That's crazy right there. All right, I gotta go. Someone posted in chat. I watched Nazario. Heard you guys last night on his live stream on YouTube. I see Pat in his chats. Nazario said he's heading for Palm Beach. Did anyone hear from him? Yeah, he was on the stream earlier. He's charging his phone right now. Last I checked, he should be back on in a little bit. But so we can get some information on what's going on. But last I checked, he was heading towards around the Sarasota area. Last I checked. Now I'm not sure if plans have changed. Okay, he's 12 minutes from Venice. He's 12 minutes from Venice. So
let me check what's going on there for them.
Yeah, Venice is getting pretty heavy rain. Well, not heavy rain. I mean, if you would consider like 35 dBz heavy rainfall, then they're getting it.
Honestly, according to the ECM, the European, Sarasota and Venice are going to miss the worst of it, like gust maybe 40, maybe 45.
All right.
With some rain, there'll be pockets of some heavy rain, but the Big Bend is just going to get slammed, according to the ECM.
Yeah. Is there any chance for tornadoes? Yeah, there is definitely a chance of tornadoes across the Florida Peninsula. Nazario was talking about that earlier. Yeah, this isn't a localized threat as we were hoping it would be. This is more of a statewide peninsula threat from what we were looking at based off of some real-time data that we're getting.
According to the NAM, I don't like how it has some supercells kind of near Orlando around midnight.
Yeah. Neither do I.
I don't like it. It's actually showing... And it's showing a band of potentially supercells just off the coast of Miami as well.
Yeah, the HERS also showing that as well. So that's another concern based off the simulated reflectivity. They're showing a line of supercells starting to fire up pretty much in the overnight on the I-4 corridor, which is one of the most populated corridors in the country. And that's something we do not need to see.
Not at all.
Yeah. But yeah, looks like the worst is still to come, so we'll have to see how it okay, all right. So, yeah, it looks like Blue is going to be joining us. Nazario is back as well. Nazario, you remember we have Connor with us as well. We were kind of going over some more of the impacts that we're looking at. What's the situation you have right now if you can hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys loud and clear. I'm taking a pit stop and a bathroom break. I'm about 12 minutes away from Venice, Florida. Winds have definitely picked up. We're sitting at about maybe 35 miles an hour steady. Coming on shore from the south and southwest. Rain's coming down fairly moderately, nothing too crazy. I'm trying to also take a moment to ingest a little bit of what 18 Zulu has in store for us. A lot of the data that's coming in for the 3-kilometer NAM, the GFS, the ICON.
Yeah.
Noticing that NAM and GFS are actually deepening the storm just a little bit more, and they're definitely in a bit more agreement that we're going to have a pretty solid round of squall-like material coming in just after sunset between around the 0Z and 05 Zulu time frame for southwest and west Florida, and then propagating a little bit further inland from there. So I think that's very interesting. That's probably what I'm going to try to follow as close as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And also,
go ahead, Connor.
sorry, I just had new bits of information. According to the NAM and the HRRR model, there is a surge in significant tornado parameters that gets scary close to the North Carolina coast tomorrow evening, like literally like 10 miles offshore, like really close.
Jeez.
And the NAM has it significant parameters. Like let me just tell you how significant it's showing. It's showing just off the coast of South Carolina at 19Z Zulu times. I think that's like what 3.
That's
4 p.m.,
4 hours.
something
That's
like that.
4 hours ahead of Eastern time.
It is showing values in the 4.
Actually, no, it's
to
5 hours ahead of
5
Eastern
range.
time. Sorry.
It's showing values in the 4 to 5 range, and if you actually click on that specific
Tor?
thing, yeah, 5 to 6, or not 5 to 6, between 3 and 4 on the significant tornado parameter scale.
Is this the 18Z? Oh yeah, I just saw it.
It's the 18Z on the NAM, and it's showing where those blips are because it's kind of peaking on the ocean, showing Cape up to 3,500 joules.
Jesus.
And as it gets closer to the Carolina coast, like it does weaken a bit, but some like blue values, it looks like for me at 22 Zulu time, a little bit of the blues kind of come towards me. That's like 1.5 to 2. And it's showing for here, it's showing the Cape potentially. Let me get it to load back up here. It kind of crashed for a second.
All right.
It says here, so yeah, it's at 22Z. It says the Cape could be, the Cape is like 500, so it's like marginal, but the SIN H, which I think you want that to be negative for storms, don't you?
Nazario?
First, the less sin, the better. The
Yep.
less convective inhibition, the better.
Yep.
That's your cap.
Yep.
And it has the value of, so you want it to be negative for a cap, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It says negative 105. What do you think about that?
That's a strong cap.
Yeah, so you've broken your inversion. Yeah, so that's going to be all available energy when you go back to your cape and your buoyancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wait,
it's showing torque.
So the cap
Go
is
ahead.
100, right?
The cap is negative 105.
Let me take a look at let me take a look at this real quickly.
Yeah. Head to the 22Z time on the NAM, like right near the Cape Fear, like right where that Cape head point is. You'll see that surge
Is that
in
for
tornadic parameters.
Is that for tomorrow?
That's for tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah, you want the cap to be negative. If you want thunderstorms, you need the cap. You need more cape. You need less cap. The cap is basically minus 48, which is basically the amount of stable air you have underneath all that cape. Ethan, am I saying this right? We took Nowcast. You want a less negative cap for thunderstorms, right? We remember this from Nowcasting.
So
larger.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. What are you trying to say?
Okay, so we have a Connor's trying to is asking about he's seeing negative the sin at a negative value value. Like the more you have of that value in the negative, that's more stable air, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
So he's fine. So what is 109 sin? Yeah, we have 109 sin from what Connor was talking about or something like that. That's pretty stable compared to the cape we're dealing with, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to prevent thunderstorms from developing, at least initially.
All right.
But then it shows just offshore, in those yellows that are not too far offshore.
Yeah.
It shows the SIN H at 0.
Yeah, that's thunderstorms right there.
If you get this storm to shift a little bit further to the north and west, then we'll be dealing with potentially significant water spouts heading on shore. I could see it if it shifts.
Yeah, for sure. The SRH on this is pretty impressive at 268.
Yeah, if you actually click on the 850 millibar height, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
It says if you go to the peak of that wind shear, it shows once it loads in. Here we go. It shows it literally getting up to 80 knots. That's absurd.
Yeah, that's at 850.
Yeah.
That better
80
stay
knots.
off. That better stay offshore.
Do you want me to show you? It actually
Yeah,
shows it coming on
please
shore.
send it. Please send it. Please show it. Yeah, Nazario's gonna be back. He's taking a pit stop, but holy hell.
Yeah, let me send it, and it actually pivots more onshore, which is the scary thing. It actually moves north, like right into the immediate coastline.
Yeah, that's something.
Look, that is an issue.
That's a major issue.
So see, even though yes, like if that cap breaks on the coastal regions, like it's that little cape that's available because it's a very high sheared environment.
Yeah.
Any rotation that happens, any minor rotation that happens, could get going very fast.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem right there. The cape. We'll have to see how that cape plays out. But
and that orange, that brown where it's like that 80 knots.
Yeah.
Look how much of the coast this covers. Let me actually send a screenshot here. This is at 21 Zulu time.
All right.
Look at how much of the coast this covers.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also why I think the wind threat is higher tomorrow. I
Oh
heard
yeah,
something
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, could you pull, if you're still there, could you pull that up? Pull that up. I don't want Ethan looking at that while he's driving.
Oh, what up? Sorry.
We sent something into the group chat. If you could pull that up, I don't want Ethan pulling it up while he's driving. So, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. But that's crazy right there.
Thank goodness I'll be off of work before the worst hits.
Yeah, you have work in the morning, right?
6:30 to 9, right before it. Like it hits it starts getting bad for me by 10. And thankfully work from me is just 3 minutes down the road.
Yeah, you're very lucky right there. Matt, you have it pulled up. What's your if so, what do you think about that?
Still.
That's okay. All right.
Trying to get it.
Yeah, holy hell.
That's the most shear I've ever seen for here, like this time.
For
I've
a
never
nor'easter,
seen
nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap. It's looking very intense. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You got, like, that's 80 knots right there.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
that's at 850,
Oh, yeah,
so
right
keep
over
that in
Connor's
mind.
area there.
That's an 850. Yeah, that's an 850 millibar, so keep that in mind. But that still is going to convert quite a lot down to the surface.
Do you want me to check the 500?
Sure.
We'll see. Because I know, like, isn't that one, like, more indicative of tornadoes?
No, that's 925.
No, it's
Okay.
the lowest levels that are most indicative of tornadoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's...
So you want me to check 925, you said?
Yeah, 925, we're looking at wind speeds by themselves about 86 knots. At 850, we're looking at wind speeds by themselves of over 100.
That's bad.
That is very bad. At 700,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a little bit less. So it looks like there's a surge in at 850. Okay, never mind. We're at about 104 knots. 500, we're looking at about
90-ish?
Yeah, about 90-ish. And then 250, we're looking at something completely different. We're looking like 60. So, but at 925, we're looking at, what is this, 87 knots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm
That
a bit
is not,
concerned
just
now.
to keep in mind, that is not all going to convert down to the surface. That's not all going to convert down to the surface. I'd say about maybe like 60 knots is going to convert down, honestly, because of all the friction and all that stuff that has to be in place.
Yeah, because it's showing me having sustained 30-mile-an-hour winds with gusts of 55. That's what it's showing right now.
Yeah, hey, Matt, Ethan, you want to calculate the pressure gradient force on this?
Don't remind me.
I'm sorry?
Times.
What?
I said, don't remind me.
I'm sorry.
Don't remind me.
That's a dynamics joke for those who are tuning in. That's a dynamics joke. Sorry. Yeah, if you take dynamics and meteorology, you'll understand. Okay, what the hell? My radar scope went down. Sorry about that. But,
also, precipitable water is a big concern too. The flooding rains.
Yep.
They said that this is record for this time of year. It's showing on the recent NAM that some sections could have up to 2 to even 2.25 inches of precipitable water. That is bad.
Yeah. All right.
Those are levels you see in the summer.
I'm sorry?
Those are levels you usually see in the summertime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The NAM's really going overkill when it comes to the precipitable rainfall. Like, even the HER's going overkill as well. We're looking at. Hold on. Is that that's southeast a bit southeast of Raleigh? I'm not sure if I can zoom in or not. Is that near Greenville? I'm thinking right there. They're looking at like almost 7 inches of rain.
If you're looking southeast of Raleigh, you're looking. Greenville's more east. Southeast is Goldsboro.
Okay, Goldsboro. Either way, that's still pretty bad. Hey Connor, do you know what the pressure on this thing is?
Like what they're predicting it to be on the NAM?
No, what it is now.
Let me see what it's showing.
Yeah, if we could get that would be perfect, because we've been getting asked that all stream, and Nazario couldn't. Yeah, we're looking for the minimum central pressure on this system.
Let me see. I might be able to find it on Windy. Windy might be able to tell me. That does pretty well.
All right.
With system.
Yeah, for sure.
It's estimated. Currently, it's estimated to be about between 1,003 and 1,005.
Okay, so just thought okay, so we have a value for you about anywhere. We'll split the difference and say 1,004. Either way, that pressure gradient force is expected to increase quite a bit. So, yeah.
And the thing is it's according to the Euro, the actual pressure itself is not going to strengthen much tonight in terms of like how much it drops.
Yeah.
It really shows it tomorrow. Like, so at 9 a.m. tomorrow, the ECM shows it as, let me see if I'm on the ECM. Yep, I am. It shows it as a 996 just off the shore of Jacksonville, Florida. Then at noon, it shows it as a 992. By 3, it's a 989. Then by 6 at p.m. tomorrow, it's a 988 just south of Wilmington.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that's pressure I've seen on Cat 1 hurricanes.
Yeah, except Cat 1 hurricanes don't have fronts associated with them.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, we know for a fact this is likely going to break some pressure records in December. So, yeah, the HER's going overkill. What's the RAP doing? Yeah, the RAP in South Carolina is having about 6 inches of rain northeast of Charleston. Whereas for you, you're getting like 3 or so.
Also, the ECM, the Euro, let me send it in the GC. Here's that convective surge I was talking about. It actually shows it a lot more clearly on Windy.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
You can see between 700 and 1,000 looks pretty likely tomorrow evening. So hopefully there's no cells that are associated with that.
Yeah, any shear that it associates with will not end well. But anyway, we've been talking about the Carolinas for quite a bit. Moving back to Florida, we're waiting for Nazario to get back to give us some real-time conditions, but yeah, we're kind of just talking about the Carolinas a bit. Connor, is there anything you want to add, like when it comes to the Carolinas, comes to Florida, really anything because from what I'm looking at, the main concern for me, at least for the next 48 hours, is from Florida all the way to the Chesapeake Bay.
Yep. So there's a few things I'd like to add.
Sure.
So, for one, there is lightning activity being spotted with some of these storms off the coast of like Sarasota, Cape Coral, like way out there. There is lightning that's now being associated. So
that's something we weren't talking about before. That's not good.
So the lightning means that there's definitely some strengthening going on with this system right now. Gradual, albeit, but it means there's some intensification going on.
Yeah, and it's not like tropical systems where it's not at that scale, but still, it's like lightning is much more common for a mid-latitude cyclone, just for context, than a hurricane.
And I know I've been talking about the Carolinas a lot, but let's not exclude. And also before we get to that too, Georgia's impacts are going to be very similar to the Carolinas. So just going to get that out of the way.
Yeah, they're already starting to get some rainfall, especially in southern Georgia.
But we have not talked much about the Mid-Atlantic and New England from this.
Yep.
From based off what I can tell. On Monday at 11 in the morning, it's showing on Cape Cod 70-mile-an-hour wind gust at 11 in the morning. Boston getting 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. Portland 65. That's Portland, Maine, by the way.
Yep.
And then at 3 p.m. it takes a turn for the worst, where there's hurricane force gust on Cape Cod. Parts of Maine, like that, that coast where it's like kind of like that rocky coast by like Acadia National Park, that kind of islandy section.
Yeah.
Gust up to 75 miles an hour.
Wow.
So that's going to be an issue. The one thing that at least where the wind is, the worst of the wind won't get hit with the worst of the rain. Looks like for New England, most of the rain will be more inland, at least the heavy rain. Like, looks like New Hampshire, inland Massachusetts, inland Connecticut, inland Vermont, lots of rain.
Okay. Yeah, inland Vermont cannot really. It's not. They've had a history of a lot of rainfall really wrecking their state. Example is Hurricane Irene in 2011, where they had a massive rainfall. A lot of amount of rain destroyed the state. It's not really talked about very much.
And on that ECM, it's showing 3 to 5 inches of rain, bullseye for southern Vermont through western Massachusetts and central parts of Connecticut.
Yeah, that's not what we want to hear when it comes to this.
Nope, and parts of northern New Hampshire, but in the mountains, could get up to 6 inches of rain. So,
ooh, yeah.
I'm actually surprised if you go to the Weather Prediction Center. I don't think they've put out a moderate yet for anybody, which really, they haven't, which really surprises me.
Yeah, they might have to do that. They might have to do that tomorrow, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, for Monday, they did put out a high alert for accumulating snow. And I'm going to have to let my parents know about it because they're driving back home on Monday from Cincinnati, Ohio, back to the Carolinas. And their trip goes right through West Virginia, and West Virginia could get a snowstorm.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Some of the upper peaks of the Appalachians, there is actually a winter storm watch in effect for parts of West Virginia and, for parts of West Virginia and Garrett County in Maryland. So, yeah, we're looking at 6 to 12 inches.
Got to keep on an eye on the backside of the system because there could be some places that pick up a lot of snow. It doesn't look like a big corridor of snow, but looks like whoever gets it could get a lot.
Yeah, this is too warm for snow, really, but still, yeah.
Yeah, not. Now with the cold air, that's what I've heard. Is this cold air not? It's not close enough to really have a full out snow.
Yeah.
But I heard not far, like a day behind it, it's like really, really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. My dinner's almost ready. I'm glad I could get you guys some more insight, and I could try and I could try and send some messages in the group chat as the night goes along so I could be insightful.
All right. Thank you very much, Connor. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to talk with us, and we'll see you later.
You're welcome. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So now that now that Connor is gone, we're going to talk about what's going on in Florida right now because we're based off what we're seeing, based off of satellite and radar, conditions continue to deteriorate across much of the peninsula. We're looking at, from based off of radar alone, looks like there's a bit of a break in the Tampa area, although St. Petersburg does look like they're going to get a little bit more heavy rain. But it's really starting to ramp up in Sarasota, in Venice, in that area over there. And Nazario is currently approaching Venice as we are talking right now. We'll have to wait and see when he comes back on to kind of give us a better understanding of what the ground conditions look like there. But we still have a very strong rain corridor from Daytona Beach all the way to Gainesville that we need to talk about, because that enhances the risk for flash flooding. So we'll have to pay attention to that as time continues to go on. And do you guys have any questions in the chat for us? If so, please ask them. We'd be more than happy to answer them for you as we continue to cover this system right here. But as of right now, pretty much everywhere from Gainesville all the way down to Miami is getting a lot of rainfall right now, and even parts of the Bahamas are getting some rain as well from this. But rainfall, of course, isn't the only threat. We're looking at a potential tornado threat across much of the peninsula. Across much of the peninsula tonight as things start to ramp up. Pressure, as we were talking about, is about 1,004 millibars, so definitely something we need to pay attention to as of right now. But yeah, those are the real-time conditions that we have. Taylor, is there anything new you would like to add? Okay.
Well, no, not really.
All right.
I think we summed everything up pretty well.
Yeah, that's fine. Ethan, Matt, what's your take on all of this? We are starting to see a ramp up in intensity across